Well, just got home from work. Stella's excited to see me. I'm gonna get set up in a few minutes to try to wreck some Magnus Black Hornet broadheads. I've tried a couple times, and then I lost my videos on my other phone because I was trying to make a video for you guys fishing, and tripod tipped over and threw my phone in the lake. So I'm gonna be redoing them videos. Got a couple other new ideas to try that are better than the first time I did them. A little bit more difficult challenges for the Magnus broadheads because the last things I tried shooting into deer skulls and stuff just didn't hardly even put a little shiny spot on the tip. So we're going to step up our game a little bit today, and we're also going to do a little bit of accuracy at longer distances, 30-40 yards, compared between the 2-blade and the 4-blade. So a couple of people told me they wanted to see how these broadheads fare in deer shoulder blades. I knew I had a carcass out in my woods, but I did find I don't know if this is the back part of the spine, kind of where the hip sockets are. Hip socket, hip socket. Anyways, I found this, and then 2 jaws. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to try to put a good chunk of tape around this and try to get this as solid as I can. And then try to shoot it with at least one of the broadheads. But I figured I'd go through kind of everything I'm going to be shooting. So this is for a durability test. It'll probably have some red tape around it. Got this deer skull. Not sure when I found this one exactly. But anyhow, I'm going to strap these safety glasses onto the forehead and then try to send one of the broadheads through that. Like I said, I already kind of did a couple of these and lost my videos because my phone's in the lake. So I already did this one, and I can tell you right now that the broadheads fared very well. But it was fun, and I kind of want to do it again and show you guys. So that's going to be another durability. Up at the target I have a steel lid from a bucket. I'm thinking the broadheads are going to buzz right through it. Probably use the 4-blade on that one so you can see the blades cut through there. It will leave a good wound channel. And I also got this old snow shovel. Gonna try to send a broadhead through the middle of that. It's pretty solid yet. I don't know if they'll go through, but I don't think it's gonna break them completely. Basically, my point of this video is trying to break both of these broadheads. Figured shooting this with a broadhead would be pretty sweet. Diet caffeine-free Pepsi, so I mean, throw that crap over there. But figured that'd be a cool close-up video. I know it's not going to do anything to the broadheads, but it'll be fun to watch. Should have showed you guys this right away, but these are the 2 broadheads I'll be shooting. Got the 2-blade Magnus Black Hornet Razor, and then the 4-blade. And I just sharpened them up fresh with that Stay Sharp fixture that the Ranch Fairy put on a link on one of his videos. Works really great. Really nice clean edges, very sharp. Paper tested it, shaved hair on my arm with them. So yeah, I'm really excited for this. If you haven't watched any of my previous videos, I figured I would just tell you guys what I'm shooting. I got a Bear Species bow, probably a 2017 model, single cam. Pulling about 52 to 55 pounds, so not anything crazy. My arrows, I got heavy inserts in them. I think 200 grain inserts and 125 grain tips. So they're coming out to be 634.4 grains for total arrow weight. So right away I'm going to get into shooting both these broadheads at 30 yards to see how they compare to one another. So we'll shoot the 2-blade first, 30 yards, then the 4-blade next, 30 yards. Let's get to it. 2-blade first. Now we'll do the 4-blade. So before you go judging at my aiming, it's like the beginning of August, so we still have a little while to get ready for deer season, so please lay off. I know I'm not the best, but anyhow, it's not terrible, and they're actually like really close to each other, so let's take a peek here. So I was aiming at this guy, hit a little bit high, but what we're focusing on right now is how they compare to each other, and I'd say that's pretty good. Like, I can barely get my finger in there. Also, look at how they cut. 4-blade, 2-blade. We'll move it back to 40 yards and then we'll get into the fun stuff, trying to wreck them, so stay tuned. Alright, 40 yards, let's go. Not the best at this yardage, so bear with me. Now we'll do the 4-blade. Alright, again, I'm not that good at 40, but it's not terrible. Okay, so there's my 40. As you can see, the 2-blade penetrated a lot more. I'm guessing it's because it hit a little empty pocket of cardboard. I just got it stacked in there with a ratchet strap over the top. Here's the 4-blade. Little view of the wound channel. All in all, if I was shooting this out of a machine, it would probably land pretty close to on top of each other, but I'm not a machine, so I got a little bit of difference. I wouldn't shoot at 40 yards at a deer anyways. I just set a standard for myself, 20 or 30 yards, even 30's pushing it, so yeah. But figured I'd try to do it just for you guys, so there you go. So I'm gonna set this target up at 20 now, and let's try to wreck these broadheads. I also do got a competitor broadhead that I shot last year. It is 100 grain versus 125 grain, but it's a hybrid head, so it's got basically a fixed 2-blade, and then it's got 2 blades that open up. I think it was called a blood sport something or another, so let's see if it can hold up to these guys. Before I start getting into wrecking the broadheads, I'm going to shoot them through I got like a box stacked full of books, like paperback books, probably like 10 of them. Probably, I think it's a series of them or whatever, but I just want to shoot both broadheads in there and see how far each one goes in. Kind of a good penetration test because it's just stacked with books. So let's do that first, and then we'll start shooting some bone and some metal. And let's do the 2-blade first. Try to hit that puppy square. Do the 4-blade. Alright, let's go take a look at those. Okay, here's my 2 shots into the books. That's the books I'm shooting. They were water damaged, so I figured I'd use them in a test. Pull these out and see how many we shot. So the second one, the heads are in, so I'll take those out and see what it looks like going through the first one. But both broadheads almost have equal penetration. the top one here is the 4 blades, so that one has a little less penetration. So here's the entrance holes. You can see this one's the 4 blade, 2 blade. Went into that one. Here's the second book, entrance side. Still got some cutting there. Still got some cutting there at Charles. No cutting there, no cutting. No cut. There's just a little tiny tip coming through. Yeah, I mean, went through this book, then this book, and each book is like 300 and some pages. 332 in that second book. $237 in the first book. All in all, I think they did pretty well. Penetration wise, those books were stacked tight, and that's a lot of paper. I'm not even going to shoot that hybrid into these because I don't want to wreck it before we get to the good stuff. So let's go on with testing here. Next up, 4 blade versus deer skull with a safety glass lens right there. And I'm going to aim for the hardest part of the skull right there. And we're going to be shooting this from like 10 or 15 yards. Alright, 4 blade versus safety glass buck. Looks like something happened. Let's go check it out. So, totally missed this part. I hit the antler instead. You can see it put a nice cut in there. Sent this piece flying. This is the base of the horn. That's some hard bone though. Anyhow, I'm sad to say it. Tip of this thing like sheared off, and the little bleeder blade, the corner is rounded a little bit. Probably not going to be able to make this one, bring this one back. Just for fun, since this one is junk, let's try to send it right there where it's supposed to go. Let's try it one more time. Well, I hit the safety glass right in the thickest part. Got that completely out of the way. And then it went into the eye socket, which actually on a deer is pretty dang hard. I've done a lot of deer skulls boiling them. But anyways, yeah, I went through the safety glass, chipped that out, missed the center of the skull. But I kind of learned something. Yeah, if you send one of these Magnus Black Hornet serrazers through the deer skull, where you aim, right in the center, they'll go through without damaging them. But if you hit the antler, they get wrecked. I'm going to dare myself and shoot this stack of bones with the 2 blade. I'm going to aim right at this white spot, right in the jaw, which is also pretty thick. Hoping it doesn't wreck it, because then I got a couple metal things I'm going to shoot to wreck it even further. If it does get wrecked, I'm still going to shoot at these metal, so stay tuned. Alright, 2 blade versus random pack of bones. 10 yards. This piece was like this. I mean, it's a fair thickness. Not too thin. I mean, that's right there, that's pretty thick. Thicker than a shoulder blade. Went through that. Oh, it did get some more in here too. So not only did it go through this, it actually split this hip bone and then continued to go down into this socket. That looks like where the tip kind of hit and then skipped off. So it went through like 3 layers of decently sized bones. I can see a little bit of tip curl. I'm not too experienced at broadhead sharpening, but I'll try to sharpen it out and see what happens. But anyhow, not too bad. Let's shoot this piece of metal, and then if it goes through that, both of them, then we'll go to the shovel, and then we'll shoot the pop can. Alright, 2-blade versus thin steel. 4-blade. Let's go take a look. Alright, so here's the steel plate I shot. It's not as thick as these, just like a bucket lid. But can you tell which one is the 4-blade and the 2-blade? So the 2-blade still has a little bit more tip curl, a little bit of jagged edges towards the serrated spots. All in all, not bad, considering it was already curled over. 4-blade, got some tape on it. Honestly, I couldn't tell you if it's any worse than it was, but I'm guessing it has a little bit more curl. But, I mean, still made a good sized gap in there. Alright, steel shovel. A little bit more hardcore of a test than the last one. 2-blade first, 7 yards. Looks like it made a hole. Alright, 4-blade. That one did some damage to the head. Alright, there's the 2-blade, 4-blade. Flip it over here. 2-blade actually almost went through. The 1-blade didn't cut, but it is a curved surface, so 4-blade hit right here. You can see that it kind of made the rust go away, bulged it out. Now it's kind of like a double layer of steel, so that really got put to the test. The 2-blade is really surprising me, guys. Still just got that same kind of tip curl, same edge damage, you know, maybe a tiny bit more. I got some blue paint there on the ferrule, but all in all, I think it fared pretty well. I mean, that's some good, that shovel is some good steel. I mean, heck. Alright, the second shot was the 4-blade. Snapped the ferrule off. There's the blade, because you can actually take them out and sharpen them. You can see it cracked it towards the center and then bent it all to heck. Here's the one piece of the ferrule. I don't really see the other piece laying around. Maybe in my next video or 2 videos from now, I'll be doing some broadhead sharpening, and I can show you why I think this one snapped off so much easier than the 2-blade. Here's the 2-blade. Because when you actually take these blades out, the 2-blade just has like a little slit that this blade, this little square piece slides into, and then there's a set screw. But on the 4-blade, it's milled out in this section. You can see how it's really thin there. It's like not even a third of the diameter of the ferrule. That's because that's room for the bleeder blade and then a spacer. So that's like a weak point on the ferrule. That's just my guess. I mean, yeah, I made it go through some tough stuff, but like I said, I'll probably go down and sharpen some broadheads right after this, and I'll kind of do a video on that, and then show you guys why I think the 2-blade outperformed the 4-blade. Okay, next I got this hybrid head. It's got this fixed blade, 2-blade fixed for the first cutting, then these open up. As you can see, they kind of just catch the tip and pull. There's no collar, there's no shock collar or anything. But these are made by Bloodsport. Picked them up last year. I got them because it was my first year bow hunting, and they're honestly pretty cheap. And from what I wasn't ready to take the step on fixed blades, but I didn't want to spend the price on total mechanicals like Rage. So I went with in between, because I knew if it didn't open, it would have some cutting. And then yeah, these open up for extra. And I did get 3 deer with them last year. So, I mean, they put deer down, but I'm just curious how they perform next to the Magnus Black Hornet into the steel shovel. Let's send it. Wow, she's stuck in there. So here it is, sticking in there. Looks like the blade did open up. There's a huge curl on the end. Second blade doesn't even look like it opened. So let's try to pry this out and take a look. So there's the wound channel. The fixed blade did its cutting, really similar to this 2-blade. And you can see on the vertical ends that you can see where the mechanical part tried to open up. Here's the head. I mean, the main blade isn't terrible. Ferrule's good. But then you got these mechanical blades that are, honestly, they got a screw so it looks like they'd be replaceable. But that one S-curved. That one actually broke off right at the tip. All in all, not bad. I might shoot this one into the pop can. That thing tore that can up. I'm not kidding you guys, I'm actually pretty impressed with these heads. At least with the fixed blade portion of them. So I figured I'd just do a little bit of a wrap up here. So we found out that the 4-blades do not like deer antlers. But like I said in the previous video that I lost while fishing, my phone's at the bottom of the lake. It went through deer skulls. I had a chunk of apple wood for my smoker that was like this big around, probably 4 inches long. And I shot that through the center of it, split that, shot it through plywood, probably 1/2 inch plywood, and it went through, not the whole arrow, but the whole head did. And I mean, it was nothing but a little bit of a shiny tip up there, and I just put it in the fixture deal. I'll put a link below for this fixture. It comes in really handy. But I put it in there, resharpened it, and that's probably this one or my other one right there. But yeah, so it broke at the ferrule going into that steel shovel, and I figured I'd just kind of show you guys my idea on why it broke. So right here I have just the ferrule for the 4-blade. It's got this milled out section right here. Basically what that allows room for is this little bleeder blade. It allows the bleeder blade to sit in there like this, just like that. Once you have the bleeder blade in there, this little bushing goes in there. So now you got the full diameter in the ferrule. And then this blade slides over the top of them. So there you have your 4-blade. Then you would put your set screw in there. But I'm guessing because it has that milled out spot, that created a, well, it created a weak point for the ferrule. And hitting that, I mean, I hit it on 2 layers of that steel on that shovel, and that was enough to force it to break. Also, probably hitting that deer antler, I'm sure, did not help at all. So, yeah, I'm sure it's gonna be mean on deer this fall, and I still have two. I still have 2 good ones I can use. Um, so I'll definitely let you guys know how it does on deer, because I know shooting steel and books and bones is totally different than shooting a deer right in the sweet spot. So I'm not giving up on the 4-blade. I'm just telling you guys what I think happened. So on the 2-blade, when I take the set screw out, got the set screw out, this just pops off, and then all it has is a little slit in there. So as you can see, this whole section in this middle is all still there except for a minor slit. So I'm guessing that's why this held up so much better on the ferrule compared to the 4-blade. It has more strength there because it has more material. I don't have that Bloodsport hybrid head anymore. It was my last one. That's why I decided to just go and grab it and shoot it to see how it compares. But I threw it away because it was pretty much junk, and I didn't think about doing a wrap-up until today. So, yeah, I was really surprised with how that performed against that steel shovel. I knew the mechanical blades on it were kind of junky just from shooting deer with it last year. That's why I only had one left, because both of them broke. But that fixed blade, that single blade that's on the end that's fixed, that surprised me how well that held up in that steel. I mean, I shot at, let's see, I shot it into the steel once, and then I shot it through the pop can, and then it went into the steel again, and then just on my own, I shot it into the steel like 3 more times, and this blade was still better off than the 4-blade Magnus. So if Bloodsport wants to make just a 2-blade fixed, just like these 2-blade Magnus, and they send me a set to try, I'd be more than happy to try it, because they nailed it on that blade. That thing was stronger than heck. But for now, I got 2-blade Magnuses left, and I got 2 4-blade Magnuses left. So that's what I'm going to use this year. Depending on how these perform on actual deer, I may be looking toward the QAD Exodus. I've just been seeing phenomenal videos on shooting through steel barrels and just all sorts of tests that they beat other broadheads on. So that would probably be my next step if I don't like how these perform. But the Ranch Fairy swears by them, so I trust him, and I'm going to give him a whirl. And like I said, the deer are not anything like all the tests that I put them through. This was just a fun video to have fun wrecking some broadheads, putting them to the test. So, yeah. I was going to resharpen this blade, the 2-blade, the one that was curled over, which I think I could. I probably still will. But this ferrule is all bent and wobbles, so I won't be able to use that, but I might just sharpen that blade so that I have an extra laying around. So today I'm gonna read Psalms 107, 10 through 16. If you want to grab a Bible, you know, I always suggest grabbing a Bible and following along with me. It sounds like a lot of verses, but it's pretty short. So, alright, let's dig in. Some sat in darkness and in the shadow of death, prisoners in affliction and in irons, for they had rebelled against the words of God, and spurned the counsel of the Most High. So he bowed their hearts down with hard labor. They fell down with none to help. Then they cried to the Lord in their trouble, and he delivered them from their distress. He brought them out of the darkness and the shadow of death, and burst their bonds apart. Let them thank the Lord for his steadfast love, for his wondrous works to the children of man. For he shatters the doors of bronze and cuts in two the bars of iron.